Yes, madam, can you just kickstart the program and pass it on to Rajmohan Anna?
Yes. Good evening. So I welcome all to this program. So we are all aware that this particular COVID pandemic has brought lot of changes in everyone's life. So that can be a right from children to the old age. So when we talk about this women population, right, they are facing a lot of changes that could be their workplace or even homemakers. So because of this closure of a school continues, and also all the family members are staying at home, there is lot of change in their daily routine, and also the workload that can be at household work or work at workplace has drastically increased, and there is a significant change in the way they work and the role they play. So in this regard, so we are going to talk about women during this pandemic. So today we have two speakers, Dr. Veena and Dr. Subhashri. So who is going to discuss about this particular population, women population, especially during this pandemic. The first speaker does.
Okay, good evening to everyone. So nice to see most of them are ladies. They are willing to understand and willing to share about their issues and challenges and what are the consequences they are undergoing. I mean, this is the initiative taken by the School of Social Work alumni and the students. We jointly get together. Alumni has been doing a great job, great service to witness this, how this has emerged and bloomed as a great movement as such. I'm very happy to say that they're doing excellent work. In fact, a lot of volunteers from alumni and students are here. And this is one of the webinars. We have been doing more webinars. We have done at least 3 webinars. This is one of those things. And this context of the work-life balance and the emotional well-being is very critical and crucial as far as I'm concerned. Now, previously I used to see, because I do a lot of work on this work-life balance. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Previously, when I used to see the work-life balance, I used to really disintegrate work-life unbalance. You know, today there is no actually disintegration. Actually, it is become merged now. There's work-life now. There is nothing difference between this thing, because this has become now. We don't know where is actually we can draw a line. Irrespective of the gender, that's just what is happening. Of course, there are advantages, there are disadvantages being working from home, but more so is that the women population, the women who are working, those who are not working, they're getting balance to this both work and the life is really very, very challenging. The discrimination was there every time, and it is slowly trying to get getting carried away, the ugly phase of that. But yet the workload, and still the people certainly feel there are certain things are being only allocated for the female population, women population. Be it taking care of the family, including the husband, the spouse.
Sir, your mic is mute, sir. Can you unmute your mic?
Where did they leave? I don't know how it has happened. Where did they leave? Any idea?
Just now, sir. Just now. No, we can continue.
Okay, fine. What I'm trying to say is that, today I have been hearing cases where husband and wife both are quarantined. Still, the workload is more for the wife to take care of the husband as well as her and the children. I think in this context, if I am not keeping myself, my own well-being is important as much as the health. It is very difficult. I think we cannot lose in the world where both are equal, both have to share the emotional part of it, physical part of it. I think we have excellent speakers, Dr. Veena, psychotherapist, and we have Dr. Subhashri. Thanks, both of them. Subhashri has been part of this moment, and she's been helping us as head of the Department of Psychology. I leave this to Dr. Vaijayanti to introduce them properly. And I'll be very happy that I think the moderator will also really make these things wonderful, pull them together. And the people like us, male also, we will understand like what are our consequences, our own challenges. Perhaps we will also join and make this more interesting, more, not only information, this is something which value to be added. Thanks once again for all the participants who are here, volunteers and students. We welcome you all. Over to Vaijayanti.
Thank you, Rajmohan sir, for your warm welcome. Let me introduce Dr. First Resource Person of the Day, Dr. Veena. Dr. Veena comes from an holistic background. She has been practicing counseling psychology for over 10 years. She is a trained homeopath and incorporates an extensive clinical knowledge in psychotherapy practice. Veena earned her MSc in psychology, MSc in counseling and psychotherapy, and currently pursuing her MSc psychotherapy program. She has been associated as an assistant professor of psychology for physiotherapy students in Bihar and postgraduate students in Tamil Nadu Open University. She has been working in a corporate as wellness consultant for the past 3 years and has the experience of conducting various workshops and EAP sessions for corporates like Scopy Knowledge, SPI Global, Equitas, and HR Forum. Dr. Veena has received her training from SCARF, Chennai, and completed her internship with the Department of Psycho-Oncology, Cancer Institute, Chennai. She underwent training in life skills under the guidance of Dr. Kishore Kumar from BAM. She has conducted a session on health and hygiene and reopening of schools amid COVID-19. She got Dr. Barbara Award for an action research on life skills in adolescent girls in rural area in Tamil Nadu. Dr. Veena is a team member of Mental Health Webinar Series 2020, which was initiated by the Department of Psychology, the American College, Madurai. She has been a part of Public Police Interface Program that addressed the mental health well-being of Tamil Nadu State Police Department, an initiative by MS Challamuthu Trust and Rehabilitation Center, Madurai. Dr. Veena completed her basic in choice theory and reality therapy from the William Glazier Institute. She completed her course on professional supervision from IAPS. And she has published a lot of papers and presented many papers in national and international conference. And with respect to awards, she received a Seva Ratna Award for her professional services from Legal Rights Organization, Chennai. Received INSPA PK Subbaiah Trust Best Performance Award 2020 for her valuable services and contributions to the promotion of school psychology in India. With this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. Veena to take over. It's over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Vaijayanti. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Good evening to one and all present here. I hope I do justification for the elaborated introduction that has been given to me, and I hope you all enjoy the session. And thank you, the Alumni Association of Madras School of Social Work, for giving me this opportunity, and also to Dr. Subhashri ma'am for referring me to be the resource person. Thank you so much, ma'am. And without much delay, I get into the topic of work-life balance. Can you all tell me what work-life balance is about? Or do we really have such concept, or is it a myth, or is it something which is made up? Let me share my presentation. So here we go.
Dr. Veena, your voice is slightly feeble to me. I don't know how about other people. Maybe you can increase the volume bit. Be nice.
Is my voice audible or not?
Slight. I don't know with others. For me, it seems to be little
It's okay. It's audible, sir.
audible. Okay.
Yes. So with you all had my introduction, so not yet. So I just want to discuss a case before I get into the nuances of work-life balance. Here is a case of Maria, who is 26 years old wife and new mother. She has just returned to work after 6 weeks of maternity leave and found out that her husband Ahmed was laid off. Maria and Ahmed are both paying off credit card loans. They just put their new baby into great daycare facility and bought a new car after the old one broke down. How can Maria work toward balancing her work and non-work lives? How can Ahmed help? How can Maria and Ahmed work together so that they each have balance? Does this resonate with you? You might have heard someone in your family, with your friends, or within your relative circle, that people, and that too during this pandemic, you might have heard many of the people got, their jobs are lost. We heard that there is an increase in the population also during the lockdown, and you have many people who are living abroad and the parents were not able to be with their children who are giving birth. What do you think the things that you can come up with this case scenario? Can we have in the chat box, or I want the participants to come up with answers. So can they unmute and answer? What do you think will be the best strategies for Maria and Ahmed to put up with? Anyone wants to answer that? Ma'am, are there any answers in the chat box? I want each one of you to think before I get into the presentation. Because
you can put it in the chat box.
In our lives, we could all relate like a few of these incidences where we are not able to take care of the EMIs, or not able to take care of the baby, not able to get balance our personal as well as professional life. At one juncture in life, we would have certainly come up with one or the other problem that is given in this case scenario. So I want answers from the participants. No answers?
Yeah, there is one chart. 1 minute, just me read through it. Both should sit together and plot ways to work on, should seek support and encourage each other. This is from Balaji. And next, Uma Srinivasan, she answered, Ahmed can take care of their kid until he is getting his job again. At least Maria can rest assured of the kid's safety. So,
okay, thank you. Thank you so much for those answers. Let's see if the answers go with what.
Yeah, again, the few answers are coming. Yes, you can.
Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. So when I introduce about work-life balance, it's not only that you are trying to balance your personal life and the professional life. There is much more into that. See, it is about prioritizing between your work, which is about your career and also your ambition. We all want to become something in life, isn't it? When you ask, right from our school age, we'll be telling the kids, what do you want to become? Whenever some relative comes to home also, they will come and ask, what do you want to become? What is your ambition? What is your aim in life, isn't it? And on the other hand, when we look at life, there are various aspects of life. It is regards to your health, regards to your social life, regards to your family, regards to your spirituality, regards to the other aspects also. Your emotional well-being too, which Dr. Shubhashri ma'am will be focusing on in the next session. So let's look like how work-life balance will be in different perspectives, okay? So the four pillars of work-life balance would be your family, your work, your social life, and also your health, your society. See, when we talk about society, we have to understand that each one of us is a basic unit of this society, isn't it? When we talk of society, we always try to point out the other person, but we don't realize that we are the integral part of the society. When each individual is physically and emotionally and socially and spiritually healthy, then the whole society will be healthy, isn't it? So we need to concentrate on that aspect too. So when we look at the different perspectives of work-life balance, this will be the mathematician's views. He will always have the quadrants. Okay, it is about his future plans or projects, about the job, about self-care, about community activities, about family relationships, about friends and colleagues, about the spirituality and religious concepts, about his hobbies and interests. So each domain, each quadrant will be representing one picture of work-life balance. When you look at the analytics, okay, because most of us come from psychology or social work backgrounds, we always tend to get into research work, isn't it? So when we do the research work and come with a lot of variables and how we come up with the analysis, we will be giving the different quantifications. So this is how it is like. So the analyst will have a few points for the professional thing, for social thing he will be giving some value for mental health. So this will be the analyst view. So when we look at the core concepts of work-life balance, there are 6 components you need to understand. One will be the self-management. The second one will be the time management. Third one will be the stress management. Fourth one will be the change management. Fifth one will be the technology management. And sixth is leisure management. When we talk about self management, it is about how you are taking care of yourself, how you are focusing on your well-being. When we talk about time management, there is a principle known as 80-20 principle. I don't know how many of you are aware of it. The 80-20 principle says if 20%, if you focus on the input, 80% of the output will be good. That is the 80-20 principle. And regards to stress management, we will be talking in the forthcoming slides. And also Shubham will be focusing on how to control the emotions, which will be helping you to cope with your stress management. Change management. Did we ever thought that such a pandemic would be coming and we will be having our normal life turned upside down? Never we have expected such sort of disastrous, isn't it? Everything was going well, but this pandemic has hit hard on us. So what was normal has become something abnormal. So we are forced to work from homes. A lot of things has happened. And also when we talk about the technology management, the digital integration has really changed the way you work. It has a huge impact on your work. And also leisure management, we really need to talk about when you ask any person, when was the last time you had fun in your life? Just ask yourselves, when was the when you had fun in your life? You will be thinking.
Veena ma'am, just a minute. So just a minute, ma'am. So participants, please mute your mic. I think some 2 or 3 of you switched on your mic. So please check whether your mic is muted.
Adana Sabapati, kindly mute your mic. Welcome to the session.
Can I go ahead, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Continue, ma'am. Sorry.
No problem, ma'am. So this is the picture, because today's topic is about how women is going to balance all these things. The picture itself shows. One picture speaks 1,000 words. So the woman has to focus on various aspects of home and family, about meeting friends, about the travel plans, about the rest, about the communication, not only with the organizations. Communication in the family also plays an important role, about the strategies, about analyzing, about work, money, whatnot. So what are the 5 warning stages of work-life balance. When you feel like, okay, everything is not going well, you can use mind maps. We all have the habit of using mind maps to come up to certain conclusions. So when we talk about work-life balance, you can create your own work-life scenarios and think about what are the things you have to prioritize, what are the things you need to focus in your life. So 5 warning stages of your, when you feel that your work and life are not balancing equally, you will have certain symptoms sort of that will be you will be noticing. One thing is, married to your work means you'll not have any time for your family, for yourself, for other commitments. You will be tied up with your work, and most of the husbands will be listening from their wife, your job is your first wife, you don't have time to me, isn't it? I'm sure most of the men in this forum would have heard this. She is your first wife, I am the second one. So exhaustion in recent trends, there is a term known as emotional burnout. Emotional burnout is how much you burn yourself. Like physical burnout, you become exhausted, you can't like take a step ahead and go ahead. What is this emotional burnout? So emotionally also you will be draining yourself. You will not be able to concentrate on your work, you will not be able to focus on your work, you'll not be able to enjoy what you have been doing. And also suffering in family and suffering with friends is it this changes will be impacting your interpersonal relationships and also your communication. See, sometimes what happens, you really don't want to offend other people, but because of your physical exhaustion and emotional exhaustions, sometimes you will blurt out, or you might like convey things in a different manner, and this might cause some sort of misunderstandings, miscommunication within the organization, within your teamwork, within people with whom you work, and also in the family. And also there will be increased expectations. The more you will be giving, the more expectations on you. So how will you decide like what are the signs that show? Okay, the feeling that you're merely trying to get through the day, you feel so lethargic, you feel as though someone is dragging you to do things, you'll not have the zeal, you'll not have the enthusiasm. Oh my god, really, should I do this work? Someone, see, not even, you'll not be involving yourself 100% to carry out that activity, barely making it to the end of the week. Sometimes we have this WhatsApp joke, I don't know if you have seen or not. When the weekend, when Friday comes, the people in the organization, how they will be flying, no? Like the weekend is coming. And when the Monday comes, the Monday blues comes, and how lethargically they will be like, dragging themselves to their workplace, isn't it? The same thing happens when you don't know how to balance. You will be dragging yourself as if like it is a mundane task and you are not for it. Someone is compelling you to do it, and also like you feel like you're going on a merry-go-round. How do you feel when you're going on a merry-go-round? You really don't know what is happening, and it's like a whirlwind sort of thing, and you just want to come out of it. You just couldn't cope with that. You just feel like someone is throwing away from that. So that sort of sensation you will be having when you don't know how to like have the balance between your work and your life. So the 4 components you need to really focus on are, sorry, I told you about the stress management. When we look into the stress management, they will be like the external causes as well as the internal causes. When we look at the external causes, it would be your life changes, your work, your relationship, your financial commitments, or you being too busy with your professional life and not able to give that much time to your children or family, sometimes not able to meet the ends of the family commitments. When we look at the internal causes, it is something to do with yourself. That is like you not being certain about your abilities, about your capabilities, you not feeling positive about yourself, the determination or the amount of self-esteem within you. And also sometimes you will be looking in for perfectionism. So you want things to be like that. It should be, if you draw a line, it should be near perfect, not even near perfect, it should be perfect. So when you have that sort of attitude, it will be really having a huge impact on your stress levels. And also lack of assertiveness. Sometimes you need to say no when you need to say no, but sometimes what happens, we don't say that, isn't it? And also this stress has a huge impact on the four quadrants, on your body, on your mind, on your emotions, and also on your behavior. So whenever you feel like a person is irritant, a person is like grumbling, a person is behaving in a depressed manner, please don't look into the behavior, look into the cause why he is behaving in that manner. When Vaijanti ma'am was introducing me, she told that I completed my basics in William Glasser's Institute for Choice Theory and Reality Therapy. Ma'am, I am now a certified practitioner. I am a certified choice theory practitioner now. So this choice theory also talks about the behavior. All we could do is about behavior. And also it talks about what are your wants. We have 5 basic needs. And these 5 basic needs are that what drives us to behave. So when our needs are not met, there will be an imbalance between our quality world and perceived world. That is how there is a rupture in your behavior. This is how the choice theory also talks. And the reality therapy gives you a wonderful process of WDEP, where you talk about what is it that you want in your life and what you are doing about it, and also how you are taking it up, the evaluation and planning, which I will be talking with WLB also. So imbalance of work is fundamentally a lack of clearly defined and consistent boundary between your work life and personal life. Rajmohan sir also told, like, when you don't know to draw the boundary between your professional and personal life, there arises the conflict. So imbalance of work life also tells you that there should be a demarcation. See, usually there will be a continuity. Both are a component of your life. Your personal and professional life are a part of your life, but you should know where to draw the clear-cut boundaries. Okay, and also the factors of work-life imbalance would be lack of social support, organizational factors, where you will be having lot of difference with your team members, or the organization is not what to say, acknowledging your work, stress factors, and also family issues and individual factors, which will be having a huge impact on your well-being. And this well-being, when we talk about the well-being, these are the various factors you have to look in for, about the exercise and general fitness, about the health, about the healthy BMI. When I talk about BMI, as I have a medical background, I should say obesity is as no, it is very much serious as your hypertension and diabetes. It is one of the emerging disease. According to WHO also, it is a silent disease. Because of obesity, you face so many problems. So when I ask about BMI, do you have any idea what BMI is about? It is your body mass index, and the value should be like 25, and below 25 is okay. 25 should be the ratio. If it is above 25, you are said to be like overweight, and beyond 26 it is known as obesity. So always see that you have a proper weight to proper height. So I'm not getting much into BMI now. So the other factors would be like smoking. Sometimes what happens, to cope with the stress, you will be indulging with substances abuse. So you'll be getting into smoking, you'll be getting into consumption of alcohol, which in turn will be very stressful for you. and also lack of sleep. I'll talk more about sleep in the forthcoming slides, and also non-competitive activities like you will be just not focusing on your work, you will be getting addicted to some other game, okay? Not taking recreational drugs, and also like I told you, the caffeine and alcohol intake. So is it always a balance? I've been talking about work-life balance. Is it that I have to tell you should have the balance sticked into your mind? No, it's not like that. You can also have, like I told you, it's a continuum, okay? You think of this work life as a continuum, and you can ask yourself, okay, chalo, from 1 to 10, okay, where do I stand? Where does my work-life balance value stand for? From 10 being the perfect balance to 1 me being the total chaos, whether you are standing in the middle of it or you are on the extremes of either sides. So just ask yourselves. So how can you achieve the balance? Balance comes from answering a series of questions about yourself. Regularly, you can ask, am I clear about my personal and professional goals? When was the last time I did something for myself? Like I asked you, when was the last time you had fun in your life? You can ask yourself questions. When was the last time I really focused on something that is helpful for me? Or when was the last time I lost my temper at my work? Because I told you, like, whatever thing is, it will be projecting in your behavior. So that will give you an idea, like something is going wrong with the machine, I mean yourself, and you need to check in for, isn't it? Whenever there is some fault in the machine, you will hear some sort of abnormal sound or some sort of friction that shows that the machine is not going smooth. Similarly, you will also have some sort of friction happening inside you, and that will be giving you, projecting in your behavior. So to achieve the balance, you should focus on your life, you should focus on your family, you should be able to focus on your career and also your work. So benefits of work-life balance, benefits to the individual would be like, it gives more value and balance in your life. It gives better understanding about your work, and also it increases the productivity, increases the relationship both in your job and also in your family, and reduces the stress. So when we look at the benefits to the organization, so workplace well-being, it has different domains and is a vicious cycle. So when you have that work-life balance, it will help you to have engagement, it will help you to have resilience, that in turn will project or reflect on your performance. It will give you positive culture, it will energize the environment in which you are working, and it will help you to become managers. It will help you to have more strong relationships with your colleagues, and also job satisfaction, and help you to have a healthy lifestyle. So in turn, it will be projecting as better teamwork, improved morale, and also less negative organizational stress. So 4 stages of work-life balance process. I told the choice theory gives you the process of WDEP. Likewise, for work-life balance also, there are 4 stages of process. First one would be the self-assessment, where you ask question to yourself, and you exploration, implementation, and evaluation. So when I tell about self-assessment, you can ask yourself certain questions. These are a few examples. Uh, you can ask yourself, who am I? What is it? Exactly who you are. See, you will be like always relating yourself to being in some relationship, or with your employment, or with the degrees you hold. But does it give meaning to what you are exactly? So how do you define yourself? See, defining yourself is something different to quantifying yourself. So should you define yourself or quantify yourself? You make the call. and also reflect on your skills, on your values, on your interests and priorities. What is it that you want right now in your life? What is it that right now you can focus in your life? List them out and share with you. AB is something like it is in organization you have these concepts. So because I work for an organization, I thought, okay, this would be like no, we usually list them and give it to the HR persons who will be taking the assessments. So when it comes to the exploration part, so what are the things you need to focus on? List on your goals that match with the information gained from the first stage of your assessments. Okay, and you set the goals in each areas, with your faith, with your family, with your fitness, with the fun, with the future, with your learning. Okay, so which will be helping you personally in your personal development as well as in your professional development. So this is with the exploration. So when it comes to implementation, how do you get there? What are the things you will be doing? You will be evaluating yourself. What are the directions I have to do? What is it that I have to do to achieve my goals? So you will be preparing a plan which is known as SAMIC, okay? And those goals should be specific, measurable, action oriented, realistic and time sensitive. You can't say like, tomorrow I should become a CEO of Reliance company, or I should become CEO of Microsoft. Is it possible? No. So always having goals that are attainable, have them in chunks. If you attain something, a smaller portion. See, when we talk about progress, a small, no, what to say, a crawl is also a progress. There is a saying, isn't it? If you can't run, you walk. If you can't walk, you at least crawl towards your goal. So if you can't run, you can't fly, you can't walk, at least make a crawl so that you go towards your goal. So you should think like from yesterday, how far I am more improved today. That will be more realistic goal that you can have, instead of having a huge and long-term goals. How far you are a better person than yesterday, you keep it in smaller achievable things. Apply goal grow concept, which is goal reality options and will or way forward. So when we talk about the implement, as digitalization is a new work in work life, so this is how you do the initiation, planning, executing, everything. Okay, so when it comes to the evaluation, you can be like, it could be poor also, you can fail sometimes, it's okay, but the attempt counts. Always remember, it's okay to fail, but we are driven in such a cutthroat competitive world. We always want to win. We always want to win. But what about the failures? Failures are stepping stones to your success. Teach it to your kids as well, because as parents, you will be the role models to your kids. So it's okay. The what to say, the effort you have put in, and you have just given whatever best you could give, and the attempt is what really counts, rather than the end product of success or failure. Okay, so determine what went right and what went wrong. Take it as a lesson in your life and move ahead. Don't get stuck where you are. So whenever you're like crossing a road and you fall down, what will you do? You just stuck there? You just get up, just dust off and move ahead, isn't it? So if you stuck there, there are chances you might meet with some accident. Yes or no? That is the rational part. So always like list what you're doing right and reinforce your plan to make it real every time. So process activity like vision, you make a vision and mission statement for yourself and see where you're going. So 9 easy steps towards work-life balance is simplifies. Always learn to say no. because in this forum, not only women are there, men are also there. I want to acknowledge them also. The first step is them understanding whenever women says, no, I can't do this thing, there should be something, and they should be cooperative in the family. Okay, so learn to say no. No one is indispensable. Okay, stay at home, enjoy the music, nothing is going to happen, chill out. The second one would be de-stress. How can you do that? Take up yoga, painting, art of living. Slow down, keep calm, be positive always, take it easy, unplug sometimes. It's not that you have to stick on to your regime. Okay, you should be consistent, sure, but sometimes you need to unplug yourself, so that no, there is a resting period for everything. Even for machines also, you give the resting period. You can't keep the car, or you can't keep a machine running throughout, isn't it? You need some resting time for that, so that the performance enhances. Enjoy life. Life is not about big achievements. Each micro moments in life also count. When was the last time you have enjoyed a moon, or no, the sunrise, or a blooming flower, or the smile of a child? Don't know. Have fun. This is one aspect, because we are I don't know, off late it's very serious business. When we look into everything seriously, we'll be taking things. Have fun, have fun. Fun is the most integral, and what to say, it's like a salt in your meal. See, you can't feel the presence of it, but definitely you will feel the absence of it. Yes or no? You'll never say, okay, salt is there in this meal. Will you think when you are enjoying your meal? But if the salt is not present, you will definitely note down that the salt is not there. You can't enjoy the meal. Fun is also similar to that. And breathe as much as you can. Nowadays, we are more having these masks and everything, but still take the breath. Breathing shows that you are alive, okay? And relax. Go outside, maybe after your pandemic. And this one, can any one of you say what this represents, the yellow figure? That's the smiley.
And also,
We all forgot how to smile on ourselves. When was the last time you have like had a joke on yourself? When was the last time you cracked a joke on yourself, had fun, you enjoyed the joke? We always want to be the perfectionist, okay? How could they crack a joke on me? How could people talk about me? Relax, relax, okay? This pandemic really taught us a great lesson. Even if you relax also, it's okay, isn't it? Meditate. That's a part of your art of living. Be a child. How many of you really miss your childhood? See, there are no 7 wonders of the world in the eye of a child. There are 7 million. Isn't it very interesting? The child really knows. Child is a teacher to a man. It is focusing on what it needs now. It's no, it doesn't have any sort of judgment. All it knows is to smile, to love. I always say we all have 2 choices. One is to love and hate. Love is something which is innate to us, and hate is something we always develop or we learn when we grow, isn't it? Be a child, okay? The child will be having curiosity, interest, and no, whenever you are with a child, you forget everything in the world, just the bonding and just the aha moment and the me moment, just the presence. And it doesn't bother how others are judging me. It will be its own bindas. So develop that attitude. Be a child always, because we all will be longing to have that child, to be that child. Share the load. So it's not I mean, introduce your children also to be a part of in household activities, household chores. It's don't have any sort of gender discrimination. It's not that only girls have to do the household chores, even boys, because that is one of the survival skills. And this pandemic has really reinforced that belief, because most of the bachelors who really don't know how to cook, who were depending on hotels for their food, they had it a hard time during this pandemic. So involve the kids, involve. See, don't do their fishing for them. You teach them how to fish. That's how you are empowering, or you make a person empowered. It's not when you provide the resources you are trying to help the person. You will help the person to know what are the resources and explore. So always share the load. And please don't complain, okay? And all the husbands who are in this forum, please don't complain when your wife asks, from tomorrow take your duty in the kitchen, okay? Do small tasks, okay? Enjoy, so that it's not only like, no, it is a survival skill. Like I told you, when no one is present, at least for your survival, it will be beneficial for you. Always share workload. So when the male person in the family indulges in household chores, automatically the kids also follow it. Like I already told you, parents are the role models for the kids. Kids don't listen, kids always observe and learn. Slow down, slow down. No one is asking you to hurry up. You can always take one thing at a time. No, even for long journey also, it will always start with one single step. Okay, you deserve to slow down and enjoy each and every moment. Okay, it's about this moment, the moment that is present now. Okay, you have to live in the moment, not leave the moment, because this is about now. Okay, you can't think about the past, you can't think about the future. It is about now. Okay, take care of your health. When we talk about the health, the 5 pillars of health are balanced diet, adequate sleep, digestion, regular exercise, and also positive attitude. Okay, we all have a biological clock inside us, isn't it? So morning 6 o'clock we wake up, even we put alarm in our cell or no, not. 9 o'clock there will be a sound happening, rumbling, saying that take off.
Sir, please mute your mic. I think Bhupati sir, please mute your mic.
Yes. So we have something known as circadian rhythm, which takes care of our sleep, our diet, and everything. So when the circadian rhythm is disrupted, that will be projecting on our day-to-day activities. You feel so irritable, you feel so lethargic, you feel so furious, you'll not be able to concentrate, your attention is not met, no. So that's the reason we always say, like, you need minimum 7 hours of sleep. But what do? We get glued to our mobile phones. So that has a huge implication, because of the mobile phones, because of getting addicted to the video games, the dopamine inside us will be like, secreting more. And dopamine, you all know, I need not say it, it is the neurotransmitter that will say enough. Because of that, in high levels of dopamine, whatever you do, you'll not be having the satisfaction. You feel like you want more and more, a dil mange more moment. Okay, minute things will not give you satisfaction because of this. So make mandatory that beyond certain limit you will switch off your mobile phones. And even if you don't get sleep also, try to just lay in your bed, switch off all the lights. Do it as a regular habit. Definitely you will fall asleep one time. Okay, always have a balanced diet. When we talk about balanced diet, it should be proper nourishment of your macronutrients and micronutrients. And in this pandemic, we got helluva of messages telling what are the foods that will increase your immunity, how well you have to take your vitamins, your zinc, and all other micronutrients also. Yes, definitely these micronutrients like zinc, selenium, magnesium will have a huge impact on your psychological, emotional well-being. Definitely take up a sport or enjoy exercise, because while doing exercise, the happy hormones like the oxytocin and serotonin and epinephrine, which will give you happiness.
Veena ma'am, sorry to interrupt you. Can you please make little quick? Because even next speaker has to.
Yes, ma'am. Finished. Almost.
Thank you.
Yes. So don't postpone, okay? Because time is the main culprit. Procrastination is the thief of time. How positive approach, okay? Look around. Be grateful about whatever things you are happening. Have the gratitude journal. Do it for 20 continuous days. Automatically on the 21st day, it becomes an habit for you, okay? So take charge of your life. It could be long term, medium term, or short term, but take charge of your life and show to life that you are the boss. Okay, be mindful about what you are doing. This picture shows this is mindful and this is mindful. So whatever it is, accept it. I've come to the conclusion, ma'am. Remember, work is not where where you, okay, what you do. So I'm concluding my talk. We all have 24 hours of time. I have 24 hours. Vaijayanti ma'am has 24 hours. Rajmohan sir has also 24 hours. Only a few people are successful. Why? Because they know how to manage it properly. So what are the things we need to focus? 24 hours, 7 weeks. 24/7, it's not only about your professional work. It's about your work, about your family, and about your personal pursuits also. Do exercise regularly, have proper sleep, and do have social events that will enhance happiness in your life. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Mercy. If you have any questions.
Thank you very much, Veena ma'am. It was a wonderful presentation. So you went through all the work-life balance, all aspect of work-life balance, the warning signs, stress management strategies, and also most important thing, where to draw boundaries, which is very important, right? We don't know. Sometimes we wonder which one we have to prioritize, which one we have to give importance. That kind of drawing boundaries is very important aspect of work-life balance. So that was really clear to us, and also what are the benefits of work-life balance, and most important thing, you enlightened us with the 9 easy steps, so which is very important. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. So now we will go with the next speaker, so then we will take up the questions. Thank you, ma'am. So it's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Subhasree. So the next speaker of the day, let me introduce her first. Dr. Subhasree Vanamali, Head of the Department of Psychology, Madras School of Social Work. She has 15 years of experience in teaching, training, and research, CBT and counseling. She is a certified level 1 hypnotherapist, CBT, REBT, and psychodrama and SFBT therapist. She has conducted more than 500 training programs for across the lifespan, like life skills, employability skills, personality development, positive psychology, and psychological interventions. Dr. Subhasree has published 30 national and international level journals. She has been awarded by INSPA Abdul Kalam Award for promoting mental health, Red Pond Academy Award recently for her contribution for the field of psychology, Madurai American College appreciated by an award for her contribution for the mental health promotion by conducting more than 400 webinars every day during the pandemic period. And she is into many professional forums, assuming lead roles. She likes reading scholarly books, writing poems in Tamil and English, as well as she is good in arts and craft. So with this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. Subhasree for this webinar, and it's over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Vaijayanti. I profoundly thank the alumni MSSW for initiative and having thought of such a wonderful program, series of programs to help the people who are in need right now. And I thank Dr. Rajmohan, who is a senior person, and I also thank the other members in the crew who have been a pillar for this entire program, who's organizing, this entire program. It is not, webinar is part of this, but there are a lot of other things, initiatives they are doing in the field, on the field. I really thank them for this. And with this note, I quickly jump into the presentation because we have limited time. And I have, I'm going to split these, talk into two parts. One is initially about, women well-being issues and why it is need of our, why we need to take care, and that too with the current scenario. And I will move on to the positive strategies and what else you can do as in mental health professionals, advice or suggestions could be the second part. So stay tuned to join with me next presentation also. It's a disclaimer from my side. So we have been talking about mental health, and it is especially very much required for women. And you all know that the women are, if you really help the women or educate the women at the family, the entire society is actually, entire community is actually, grown and developed up. This has been a saying. So it is very essential for all of us to look into mental health as an aspect for women, especially why it is so special means the very important aspect I have seen. There are a lot of issues. They are vulnerable because they're, because of their dispositions. And we all know that it is very important that to be aware of as in mental health professionals or allied professionals. Women tend to have more of these kind of a mental health issues because of their, their hormonal disturbances, and they get it in a very periodical manner. And there are a lot of research studies shows that more likely to men, the women experience post-traumatic stress disorder. And when it comes to eating disorder of anorexia, bulimia, it is more among women than men. And it is, when it comes to, attempting suicide, it is more among the women. But when it comes to the ether, that is the success or the kind of an attempt which is very, very severe, it is men is counted high. And women have constantly higher rate of anxiety disorder than men. And depression, very, very especially it has been mentioned in depression cases, that is the premarital and also the menstrual cycle related issues, and also the post partum. This is something very unique for women. These are the main important aspects the women are going through when it comes to mental health issues. They're likely to get more. So they are vulnerable, dispositioned in that way. So we are as in professionals and also as a general public, and also who all are being joined in this particular forum must be aware of that why women need to be treated very specially, because if they have been very sound health, if they are taking care of themselves, if their well-being is assured at home, it is going to generate among the other generations also, because they are the primary caretakers for your children, isn't it? So it is very essential for all of us to give our best to take care of the women and support our women at home. So why such a kind of an webinar, that too at this period? Because there is a need, there is a cry, there is a lot of people come out and share their experience. So I'm going to give you a lot of case presentations also to make you understand. And very important concept to understand, health is a state of complete positive physical, mental, with encompass emotional and social well-being, and not merely absence of the disease. So if everything is fine, nothing is there, there is no disease, why do you say that you are not healthy? Shouldn't be a question from your side. You should make a point that how best we can actually provide a well-being for the women at home. So with this, I am moving on to the next, which is, having set the floor that how women are so special to take care, because they have predispositions, they are vulnerable because of their hormonal and other, important aspects. So as in women, they go through in the period like, the menstrual cycle, and also premenstrual, and also the very important postmortem after the delivery they have and issues, and when they are having an menopause also, perimenopause also, and also menopause. These are the aspects we need to take care, and we need to consider this, especially during the menopause. A lot of issues are arising with respect to the women. We need to really take care of and give a ear and also listen to them. So the current scenario is adding fuel to the fire. Don't you feel that? So we all are going through, especially the women across the lifespan, are experiencing direct challenge and threat towards the physical health. Because of the infection, whether I will get infected or whether I will get a problem related to this and all that. And when it comes to mental health, they have been into, we have a lot of discrimination still in our society, that as a woman, you are supposed to do certain aspects. You are, likely to do these, and this is your duty. This is been expected out of you. Mom, the breakfast is not ready yet. All these expectations, set expectation, the mindset towards women are being already generated and been there in the society for a quite long time. The stereotypical attitude towards women. So we have to really think of this aspect also when it comes to this particular period. The women have been overloaded. They work, they go for an outside work, that is to earn money, and also they have an household chores, and they are also into kind of a cleaning, mopping, and other aspects, and take care of the entire aspects and hygiene, food, and everything they have to, and purchase, and everything. They are in home ministry. They are entirely taking care. So this really add on fuel to the fire. And well-being is questioned because the resting time, their time of being, their need time, they miss out. If they are going to home, at least they get a chance once in a month. They go for an nice massage and into the beauty parlor. Now that is also shut. There is no possibility at all. So there are a lot of self-grooming is lost, and there are so many things, aspects they are missing out. And there is a think about a future. There is always a kind of an orientation. Women think in the entire family, what will happen to my children, what will happen to my husband's job or a business. If they are in business, how it is going to again regenerate back, and all these are running in the back of the mind. And when it comes to a cognitive, there is a lot of negative aspects, negative thoughts, a lot of confusions, delay in decisions, because of there are so many curtails and so many barriers for all of us. And we get a lot of disturbing news from other side also. The entire society is in a distress. So we are able to sense it. So there is something called a contemporary happiness. நம்ம வாழற காலத்துல இருக்கிற எல்லார்கிட்டயும் இருக்க happiness we are also நாம பகிர்ந்துக்கிறோம். So that is a major aspect also is missing out. You can see there's a lot of people in the segments are getting distracted and disturbed. That is actually disturbing us. People who are in mental health professionals, you are also a frontline worker working for people who are in need. So we need to really look at this case as in how it is going to affect and especially social life. It is really going to be an threat directly, because we cannot go and meet people. We meet only through this Zoom. We meet only through this online platform, which is we miss all the social connections. And this is a very great threat, and current scenario is throwing a lot of stones against women because of this particular aspects I have listed out. But there are other aspects also may be there other than this, because of their own issues related to their own personal positions in their life. For example, they have not settled in their job. They have not got into an good position, or they are looking for a job. There are a lot of other issues related to that. So with their personal position also, there may be a lot of other unexpected, unplanned issues may be there for them also. So when you really look holistically with this feeling of overwhelmed, helplessness, hopelessness, feeling guilty without any clear cause, and spending a lot of time worrying, they will be worrying, simply worrying, ruminating thoughts of worries, and then having difficulty in thinking or remembering. I don't remember dates or something, and sleeping too much or too little. They are not able to rest. Even there is a time given to them. You need not do anything. You keep yourself in a rest, that time also they're not able to sleep. Having changes in appetite, and they're not able to eat more, or they eat more, that is more than what they used to consume, they're having a lot. And then somebody are getting into altering substance abuse or something, it's in still it is the percentage of usage of alcohol and nicotine when it comes to women are very less when it compared to men, but there is a slow increase in that rate also when it comes to young adults that need to be really looked into. And isolated from people activities, they don't feel like mingling, they don't feel, and this current scenario is also is kind of you cannot go and mingle with people because you don't have a social gathering, you don't have a social outlet, you don't go to mall, you don't go to cinema, you don't go to beach, you don't go where you have been enjoying so far. So there were an entertainment list you had in your plan, it's all striped out now because you don't go out. A simple walk is also a threat now. So this is something is which we need to really look at this perspective of these, and also experiencing fatigue. So the excessive kind of fatigue because of they are not able to process the entire work or workload or related to other aspects. Dr. Veena has covered the work-life balance, how it can impact on our health and mental health, which I'm actually looking for the emotional well-being and emotional wealth. So the emotional wellness is something is very, very important for all of us to really look into when it comes to women especially. And having difficulty keeping up with the daily tasks, they may not be able to do the routine and they're not able to experience, they're able to do their best in their presence. They used to do a routine of this, that itself is getting distracted. So, and experiencing new unexplained pain. They feel they used to say when they come to counseling, they say, so they feel the pain in their chest or something. They're not able, unexplainable, pain or something, which they used to complain to us. So these are the aspects we need to really, and what are the concerns they have about their performance, because the productivity has come down and it is it is actually indulging in long hours of work, and pay is not reflecting to that, and they are also finding it very, very difficult when it comes to when they come to their control over work, because they keep keep adding on to their workload. So this is they find it very difficult to balance both, and as well as say no, or because they are always in a thought that if I miss out the job, what will happen? There is an always insecurity because my uncle's daughter has quit the job and she is not finding a job during this pandemic. Nobody is providing job, and people are going to job. It is underemployment is very high now. So I am really worried about it. I cannot say no. Also, I have to keep dumping all the works the boss is giving. So the relationship with colleagues and managers is disturbed because they are not in peace. That is reflected in relationship. And this, when it comes to experience of relationship with partners, when it comes to others, nowhere so far in your life, just in your honeymoon period, you would have been with your spouse for a quite long time. I don't think so. You would have been with your spouse for 24 hours after that for a quite long time. So this particular experience of having it lockdown and pandemic, you cannot go outside. You have to be with your spouse all the time and meeting all the expectations and demands, close family members. It is something an unusual aspect, which we all are facing right now, isn't it? Undergoing major life changes like moving home or childbirth or something along with this pandemic also. You just imagine it is unimaginable pain for them. Living in a neighborhood of faces inequity. For example, you are not in connection with the neighbor, or you have changed your place, you don't have a connection with your neighbor, or you lost your neighborhood people who are due to this pandemic. There is a lot of other deprivation may arise, and this interpersonal relationships issues are very, very huge now. And I'll tell you, there is a lot of cases we see when it comes to relationship where they come with a problem which has been there, which has been precipitating for a quite long time. But now during this pandemic, during this particular 2 years, there are a lot of relationship issues are popping up because they come into a surface level. No more I can tolerate with you. I really wanted to get rid of you. There are a lot of people come and say that I have been, standing with this guy. I cannot tolerate hereafter. Please let me get divorced. There are a lot of people say that because now it is popping up the surface. Suppressed emotions towards this particular person and relationship is surfacing now. We as a mental health professional has to be aware of all these warning signs, and feeling lonely, isolated, it is very common. There are young adults call us and say that I don't know what to do. I'm feeling very lonely. I feel that I'm missed out. I feel that I am not enjoying the life of a young adult. I couldn't bear this because I'm not able to see my friends, and I miss out a huge part of my life where I feel energized, and also being loud is being with my peers and friends, which I am actually which I cannot do right now, which is really making me feel low. These are the young adult statements, and it's a very important aspect, the economical shutdown, the economical crisis, which is a major alarm for many of the people. So people who are getting into early marriage or early marriage period, or getting a commitment, or they would have been planned with a lot of enthusiasm that I would like to have loans for my house, I would like to invest for my car, I would like to pay EMI because we both are earning and all. But now with a lot of cut short in the salary, and the people are finding it very difficult to pay their EMI, and there are a lot of people who are in business are finding it very difficult to manage their crisis because of their rotation or unavailability. Market is not open, demand is not there, but there are a lot of stock which has been stored in their storeroom without usage. There's a lot of trouble they are facing. They say that every day I get a nightmare. My entire warehouse is getting fired, or some of them said that it's destroyed because of rats, and I don't know, I have 2 crores of stock in my godown. I don't know when I'm going to sell it out. I'm just looking for some way to dump it in the distributors. I'm looking for that day, then only I will sleep. There are a lot of clients talk about this also. So various issues we are getting, having an unhealthy lifestyle, because there is no time schedule, there is no schedule for me to follow. I don't go to my work on my time, so I wake up very late, and that will actually I end up my breakfast in a very late manner, and then the lunch will go to 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and sometimes midnight I sleep, and sometimes I don't sleep. There's a lot of issues related to health, lifestyle, which I'm not going to peep in because Dr. Veena has covered about circadian rhythms and other aspects. Smoking, which is in direct threat, people who have been smokers have been challenged very greatly with this infection of corona, because it is directly affecting the lungs, and there have been people who have been having that it's totally irreversible, so they get into the trouble of when infection is very high. So, and being quarantined, being in the hospital, managing hospital logistics, food supply for them, and if there is any other people at home is also affected, how the women will take care of them. If the women itself is infected, what will happen to the other people at home? There's a lot of messy things are happening around. They are in total chaos. They don't know if the women at home is disturbed. They find it very difficult to manage. They say that if my wife is healthy, probably I would have managed them. All at home are, finding it very difficult to manage. These are the nutshell of, I'm giving nutshell of the, the warning signs and the problems and the issues which is popping up during this pandemic period. Whatever we have done the counseling based on the essence I have pulled down here. So I'm giving you the case one. I want all of you to reflect on this. And probably you can come out with your own problems related to that, and I make sure that you put it in chat box. It need not be yours. You can refer to somebody's name or give and kind of a tentative name for that, so that it is not identifiable. So with this, I would like to give the first case. 23-year-old, I'm finding difficult to rest. I'm worried about my future. I'm getting frustrated for even small deeds. I cannot even tolerate the smallest things which is happening around me. My all the people who are at my place are irritating me in one way or the other way, by questioning me, by advising me, by giving some tips to me, and my brother is irritating me, my father is irritating. All that she has been mentioning. My family members are upset for my behavior. This is what she said, that you can identify, no, that this I would like to discuss with you all so that it will become an easy way of understanding each of those emotions and how, what are the very major important emotional, or a kind of an turmoil she is going through. Could you please come out in chat, or you can also unmute yourself and talk. I wish if you, some of you switch on your video, it will be very great to look into, because we are emotionally connected to each other through this. If you can mention what is that the case, you wanted to see the case, I can always. So the case is about 23-year-old finding difficult to rest, worried about the future, frustrated for even small deeds, and family is very upset of my behavior, getting irritated for even small things around, not able to adjust with the family members, finding it very difficult, and often finding it, upsetting kind of.
One issue with this 23-year-old, maybe some hormonal issues, mood swings can also happen. That is one way that we need to understand. That can be one of our reasons. We need to understand and handle those things and take some relaxation things and go things with slowly take things forward rather getting everything in our mind.
Wait, I think it is Mr. Jayachandran voice.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much for throwing light on that. Of course, we need, as a counselors and a mental health professional or an allied mental health professional, has to be really aware of what is that person is going through, age related or anything hormone related, any physiological aspects we need to rule out first. That's a fantastic one, Mr. Jay. And then fear, anxiety about future. That's a good one. And anxiety and depressed, lot of uncertainties in mind. Okay, so most of the time we assume things, but the anxiety is something which is very, very obvious. I couldn't rest, worried about my future. It's a clue, isn't it? So we have to really look for such a kind of an aspect that person 23-year-old, and she has complete. I have not even mentioned the gender here because even that is not needed. But here I have to say, because of the hormone aspects you have mentioned. So this particular person has finished her degree and waiting for a job. She has done an internship also. She is looking for a job opportunity, but she is finding it very difficulty. But the kind of a job what she is looking for is not matching for what she is opting for. So this is the kind of a chaotic situation she is in. So she is thinking that the future is something yet blurred and I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I going to settle down? It is a kind of an anxiety towards what is about my future. It's well said. Somebody, Anita has told about that. Anybody else? Anything else you get a point from there? Of course, I'm anxious, I'm frustrated. What else she is mentioning here? Somebody can unmute and talk. It is nice to hear your voice.
Ma'am?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, this is Sangeeta. So I personally think that she might not have got enough family support in terms of the hardships which she have gone through. So because of that fear, she would have misunderstood, okay, whatever things comes to her or him might affect their future. So first they need to discuss with their family what is actually going through. And then the person has to take a proper medication, like peaceful exercises will really help them.
Fantastic. So you're talking about the strategies also to overcome. That's nice. So I'm talking about identification period, phase itself. She's frustrated for even small things. That means she is not living in peace. She's in worry. She's in anxiety. She's not living in worry is something related to she's getting a lot of negative thoughts about her future settlement of job or other aspects. And she's also getting a lot of frustration with family members. She's not in peace at all. She's upset. So somewhere the family and her relationship has been totally in distress. So we need to really address this issue also. Somewhere we have to correct over there as a support system, because during this pandemic she cannot go out. She cannot go out and also talk to someone. And probably she may be thinking that I'm not earning money, so I cannot go out and check out for a counselor also right now. So this is one of the call we attended through an helpline. In that case, how it is going to help that person is something we need to really look for. And somebody talk about guilty not having a job, and we're getting deeper into that. So she's actually afraid whether I will get a job. She's afraid whether I will get a good job with a good amount of money. And she is also frustrated that people are being, advising her, get into a job, you do this, interview, do well. And everybody is talking these terms to her. So she's been in point of time, her brother has told that, Summa vettiya thana irukka, idu enakku help panna appdin. So she's been felt that I'm waste at home. I'm not doing anything. She felt like. So the very important aspect over here, as as a mental health professionals, we need to understand one of the very important aspect to validate their emotions. First and foremost, acknowledge, validate, and empathize with the person. You are giving a real tweak for them while they are actually in the flood. You just give them a kind of a support when you are doing this. Somebody is able to understand my feelings. Somebody is able to lend here holistically. Somebody is able to feel how I'm feeling is itself is a great help for them. So that is the first and foremost important step we need to take care. And then only we have to really move on with the problem of self, problem with interpersonal, problem with how they are positioning themselves, and how they are looking at their job and other prospects, and then probably require some kind of a career counseling. We need to focus on that later on with these aspects. But connecting their emotions are foremost important first point, because already they are in a very great dilemma, difficult situation with the distress. So we have to really soothe them, help them to ease, and then come closer to share all the information. So this is one of the four important aspect I need to. And also she is she has mentioned that I get problem, I get really frustrated. That means there is a barrier, and then you keep on adding to that barrier, then they get frustrated at one point. So the tolerance level of the person is a question mark over here. So I'm not assuming, I need to talk to the person. How often you get frustrated? What are the things you feel that you have noticed? Whether it is really disturbing you? Is it something which you compare with another person in our home? This is something very small, but I'm still looking at it, because she mentions that even for smallest thing, I'm getting, irritated or frustrated. So that means the person itself has a perception about these are small things, but I'm taking it too high. So in that case, we need to really look into the tolerance level has come down, means what could be the reason? Is it because of the hormone, as you said, or it is because of the mood swing, or it is because of, the kind of an ruminating thought she has about herself, that is her confidence level or self-esteem is very low. We need to really look into this case in deep on that. And most importantly, how she is regulating her emotions are very important here. So in the case, I need to repair this person for regulating their emotions, first understanding their emotions, and then giving them an elevation to a surface level, what is this person is going through. And next, the person is complaining about certain concerns, we need to address that. While addressing the concerns, we will find out the black spots, that is the problems what the person is, the client is facing. It may be related to the interpersonal relationship. It may be for a quite long time now, it is surfaced in the pandemic period, or it may be related to the problem of their health or something, or there may be a bossy relationship inside the family, or there may be abusive relationship or critical parenting also there. So we need to really look into that and correct that aspect. And we have to, as a counselor, we have to really look into this case. The person who has come to us is the client. We need to empower and equip and also strengthen the person who is in contact with us, not rather the other people at home. So this is a very important aspect we deal as a mental health professionals. So moving on with a small exercise of this case discussion, moving on with another case. It is quite interesting because you all are also participating. I really like that. So I wish you all come forward. There is no right or wrong answer, because one person's emotions and one person understanding about an emotion may be totally different. That's the reason we all counsel in a very different way. Each one have their own style. So you need not think about whether it is right or wrong. Just go ahead with your answers. I am from a broken family. It is difficult to adjust with people. I have terrible fear of being in relationship. I feel I am helpless at this moment. As I am the reason for my situation, though people around, I am feeling alone. Can we have a discussion, please? I'm looking for some of your mics on and talk, please. Come forward. There is no right or wrong, no, because we all definitely would have gone through some of the cases in our lifetime. And also during this pandemic, would have listened. So many people are talking like this. I'm going one more time. So I am from a broken family. It may be their parents are not in terms, and it is difficult to adjust with people. I have terrible fear of being in relationship. I feel I am helpless, and at this moment, it's very important at this moment, as I am the reason for my situation. There are a lot of people around me, but I'm still feeling alone. Come and share it. It may be in the chat also if you don't want to unmute yourself.
Doctor?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, Mr. Guna. Yeah.
This is just my opinion, my sharing. Since she's coming from a broken family, definitely a child, she had a very bad childhood, the traumatic and adverse childhood experiences. That would have lead her to become a vulnerable woman. Even though I don't know about her education, even though she's highly educated, that childhood, bad childhood lead to the current personality and current mental health issues. So, here the childhood play a very key role. We have to study the childhood, how that have contributed to the current situation, current personality, and current challenges. That's my view.
Okay, Guna. Thank you so much. Guna has joined from Malaysia. Thank you so much. Anybody else, please? Anybody else? Actually, there's a great, that's a great outlook, and you have taken it very importantly. The broken family, the person itself has told, means it matters a lot for them. So I am from a broken family means the child has not processed that at all. The person maybe, I have not mentioned about the age of this person. This person is now in an adolescent period. I am from a broken family. It is very difficult to adjust with people. So this person is not having a kind of an, trustworthy relationship problem with, trust building. And the distress, mistress, we would have studied. The attachment pattern would have, the child have been disturbed. So this person is not able to rely on relationship, not able to have a trustful relationship. So that is actually continuing. So this particular pandemic period, since the person is not able to mingle with the other person, she finds it very difficult being very isolated in a place. She's finding it very difficult that I am alone. I cannot also go and have a relationship. I'm finding it difficult because I never had such a kind of a smooth relationship in my life. And now I'm feeling alone because I don't have an outlet at all. I don't go out. I attend only online classes. It is even more troubling me because I'm alone has been restated to me in very great extent. In fact, this person has a very mild depression also. So having said that, it is very essential for all of us as a mental health professionals to look into the details of the case and also connect with them and also emotionally be bonded with them, build a very good rapport with them, and also that journey will give them a kind of a security support and kind of an handholdness, because they are trusting you so much and coming forward. You are the third person to that person, but they are very open towards you. That is only assuming that you are going to keep up the confidentiality, you are going to be there to help them, kind of an hope and trust in you. So this is required for all of us as a mental health professional to look into. I think our time is, do I have 10 more minutes, Vaijayanti, so that I can finish the other case and wind up this today's session.
Maybe, ma'am, you can give them as a homework because you are continuing the next time, right? So that they can have some preparation and come back in the next session.
That's a fantastic idea, Vijay. Okay. So having said this case, and we had a discussion about that, and moving on to the next case. This is something you can look into this case. And as Dr. Vaijayanti mentioned, you all note down and come out with your own points for the next session. I'm really getting angry often. If things are not happening as I wanted, I yell at my children if they are messy. This pandemic really ruined my peace, and my family members are little upset with me. I'm afraid I may lose their love. It's a very essential case, and we will have the discussion in the forthcoming session. Take a screenshot of this case so that you can work on it. I really want all of you to really work on this and come out with an beautiful answers as you can try. And definitely join with me because we have done one part of a case presentation and discussions we had. They're going to move on with the understanding of emotions and strategies, how emotional well-being could be nurtured. I'm going to talk about that in the next session. So join with me later on also in the session. We will be sending the link. With this note, I'm finishing my today's talk, the part of today's talk. Dr. Vaijayanti, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. It was a wonderful presentation and very crisp. You are able to relate with the case study, and also thanks for your homework so that we will work and come up with a lot of discussion next week. So thank you so much for your presentation and participation. So now we will have few questions, so which has come up in the chat box. So the first thing is, if a husband is dominating personality, do you think he will cooperate with his wife on her work-life balance?
It's a question for Veena. Okay, it's a question for Veena.
Sir, like I told you, while the 9 steps I told you, like the first thing is to say no. The next one is to communicate, to talk with the husband. Sometimes you need to like clarify and tell like these are the things I am expecting to do. Definitely each family will be having their own family dynamics. One family will be very independent, one family will be very disorganized sort of. So always sit together and always like you divide the chores, and you need to communicate. Sometimes it's always to stand for what is right for yourself. So you tell, unless you don't express that I really need you to do these things, nothing will happen. You have to tell to the husband, like these are the things I'll be doing and these are the things you have to take care of. Unless you don't communicate or unless you don't express, nothing will work out, sir.
Yes, thank you. The next question, when people at home don't value the importance of certain things a mother does, they do not feel the need for this action. It's taken as this mother is always working. She doesn't know to take rest. What if the house is not clean? So I think that the role
Yes.
of mother, yes.
My mother, the profession of his mother is one thing where you don't get the pay scale, you don't have the leaves. You are 24/7 till your life is there. Okay, and as such, see, instead of like there are 2 ways to approach to this. Okay, one is like the mother herself, she has to know that it is okay even if the house is not organized. Also sometimes you have to take it. That's the reason I told you, don't be a perfectionist. Okay, we are not dwelling in museums. Okay, it is a home, it is a place where you enjoy yourself with your family members. It doesn't mean like the house should be clean, spick and span all the time. Sometimes it's okay, but when you do the rituals regularly, like I told you, when you do things, your children observe you and they follow. When I do things, my child, when he looks, I have a son at home. Okay, when I do certain things, he looks up to me and says, okay, this is how my mother is doing, so I have to do this. This is the way of placing a thing. This is where this has to be kept. So even the mother also, like I told you, take a break. Nothing is going to happen if you take a break. Just relax. Okay. Slow down. It's okay. Because this pandemic has really taught the importance of a mother in your life, really. Even no, even for the grown-ups also, I am saying how important a mother is in their life. So that's it. Instead of you can tell to your mother also, mama, it's okay for you to take rest, relax, today I'm going to take care of the kitchen duty. You enjoy. All these days you have been serving, now it's time for me to make up something and serve it to you. Okay, you can make up things, you can come up with themes where you can involve your mother in your fun activities. So it's about how, with the limited resources you have, you can make your life more beautiful. So it's not about you gift something like a diamond necklace or a beautiful sari to your mother. Even that 5 minutes of rest you give to your mother, make a good cup of chai or filter coffee for our South Indians. Tell her, just enjoy this cup of coffee, just no, relax for these 10 minutes, have your me time, I'll take care of the household chores. That will really boost up her. And I'm sure you give her coffee, in the dinner you'll have your favorite meal. That's mother.
Yes, Dr. Veena, I think all of some of us will get coffee and some of us will give coffee to our mother. Okay, we'll take two more questions. One question from Prasanna. He asked, does work-life balance can be achieved only by an individual with his own efforts alone without social support?
No, I told you, like, society and social support is an integral part of your work-life balance. See, in work-life balance, you are dealing with your family members, with the society, as well as your organization. So society and social elements are an integral part of your work-life balance. So without the social support, it wouldn't be complete. The picture wouldn't be complete.
Yes, one last question. Shalini, she says, I don't know if this will help. Since the pandemic started, I have developed a hobby of food photography and have started posting on social media and have started to enjoy cooking and cleaning. We should only look at ways to make ourselves happy. Everyone should take up a hobby. I think this is not a question. This is something giving.
It's an input. Like I gave you the 9 quadrants or 9 ways of dealing with your work-life balance. In that, I would have told, like, pick up one hobby. Or with the 9 goals I have given you, in one of the slides I have put up, inculcate some hobby. Sit down with your child, just you draw whatever comes out. Okay, it's not that you have to be a Picasso or you have to be Monet to come up with a painting. I know Shubha ma'am always keeps on doing her mandala or something that gives you inner peace, no, that gives you a sort of catharsis to vent out your emotions, to deal with your emotions as such. So you do some sort of productive work. It could be like having a pet. If you don't feel that it is a burden, having a pet, or doing gardening, some productivity. So you feel like your meaning and purpose of life is also met through these small chores. So that will happen.
Yes.
Like I told you, the positive approach towards life is also one of the 5 pillars of your health. So this positivity and positive attitude will really enhance your lifestyle and your health. So this would be my
Yes.
suggestion.
Yes, thank you, Veena ma'am. So, Subhashri ma'am, I think next week you will be getting a lot of questions because you have given homework also. We'll prepare a lot of questions and get back to us. So, thank you once again. So, please join us for the next session, the continuation of Dr. Subhashri's session on 26th, 12th, and the next Saturday. So, along with that, we'll have one more session on managing children during this pandemic. So that is what are the emotional needs of the children, and also the strategies to which help the children to deal with stressful and painful event. So, and also this positive coping strategies and positive parenting. So these are the aspect we are going to discuss in the next session on 12th. So along with Dr. Subhashree's continuation of this session. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you, participants. I welcome Rajmohan sir to propose formal vote of thanks.
Thanks, Vajanti. I think Dr. Veena, Dr. Subhashree, it's interesting. Listening is a very difficult job today. I'm talking for myself because now after this, we have to move on to some other thing for another 1.5 hours. I think the great, I say more than presentation, the way you have taken this whole thing, both of you. It also just pull out few points what you have, both of you spoken. Number one, animating your child within is very, very important. And most of us, we fail to do that because that leads to a lot of guilt consciousness for so many people. In my own life, I have understood. You don't have to. You can enjoy whatever you do. I think I believe in one thing, like whatever I do, I like what I do, that only I do. So I have no fatigues as such so far. I think my 40 plus years of experience, I never felt very never frustrated at doing any job, including this. I enjoy this, what I'm doing. So there's no pressure on that. I think we need to understand that. Second thing, I don't know why we Indians, most of us, we don't give importance to mental health. We are only, we rush to doctors and everybody the moment we have a stomachache or something like that. But I don't think we have the habit, nor we have been institutionalized by the family or secondary system, that mental health is as equal or even more than that, because that could actually drive the physical health is a very difficult thing. I think that's where we need to make people to understand how mental health is so important. It cannot be put in the back burner. That's the second thing. Third thing, what I have understood is, we're talking about well-being, in fact, emotional well-being. I firmly believe being is not an easy word to be understood, actually. It is a very great word, and I hope a lot of us understand who are working with people. But to become being, you need a lot of doing. I think that is what is the most important thing from your both presentation, which people to take it forward. And the questions which they have raised, the participants, is very, very relevant and very, very real. That is what is you have been asking. I finally want to say, before thanking you formally, the one thing is that it's all making your choices. How are you going to make your choices? Long back, maybe 24 years back, when I was doing a program for the faculty, only for ladies in a big institute, I just asked one question: why did you marry? Surprisingly, there was only one answer for all the people. I think a lot of people would have guessed. They said, because our parents wanted us to get married. It is not their choices. So we have always made choices. And when you make choices, then perhaps the stress and will be faded away, and the well-being can be really done that. And once again, it's lovely listening to you both. I think we need to do more workshop with you. And Subhashree, it's great. I think you deserve what you are doing right now as another department of psychology. So much you have given to this. I say, of course, the time was very limited. And Dr. Veena, it's very nice to see you. Are you a student of MSSW?
Sir, I have a thing with MSSW. I have attended a few workshops, and I have an association with Subhashree ma'am and Vajanti ma'am also.
Wonderful.
So,
I think I will get in touch with you also, that a lot of work which we can do. Very nice to see you all. Vajanti, again, I know it's a very difficult because both were actually taking, very comprehensive way. They want to give it to all people. So I know that you would have been found it difficult to manage the thing, and you have done excellent. And most of the students, most of the alumni who have been participants, a wonderful thing, because but for you, it would not have happened. And final thanks to Murali and Kenny and all the team members to put it everything in perspective and make it happening. It's a very, very difficult. And thanks for all of you to bring more participation, because I hope this both of you would have enjoyed it. Dr. Veena, Dr. Subhashree, and Dr. Vajanti. Thank you very much. We'd love to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We expect you to join the next session. Thanks.